Good evening, everyone. We will be starting the webinar shortly. All right, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Suresh Govindachetty. I work as a senior solutions engineer with Sumo Logic. And today I'm going to walk you through the application observability using Sumo Logic. We are going to go through the Sumo Logic transaction tracing overview on the capabilities. Observability is traditional monitoring and troubleshooting on steroids. The traditional monitoring tools, they look out for known failure conditions of the application. Observability, on the other hand, requires you to completely understand the application so that you can identify, troubleshoot, and fix any conditions, either known or unknown, about the application and its health. So what is the requirement to ensuring a highly observable and available platform? There are two key requirements to doing this. One, you need to you need the ability to collect all signals, the logs, metrics, and traces. And number two, you need the ability to use these signals to monitor, detect all application issues and alert in real time, identify, get to the apps or the components which are actually impacting your application, and troubleshoot and get to the root cause of the issue. Sumo Logic provides a comprehensive observability solution that provides all of these capabilities to monitor, to identify, as well as troubleshoot the issues. What is transaction tracing? Transaction tracing, as the name says, helps you to trace a transaction. A transaction can actually go through multiple different components within your service. It's something like a service A, it can go through B, C, D, etc. So the transaction tracing helps you to go through all these transactions to identify the latencies if they are happening anywhere, to find out which particular components are actually running slow. Are there any components which are facing errors? And if you are facing failure conditions because of any specific components. The Sumo Logic differentiator. Sumo Logic can help you to monitor, diagnose, as well as troubleshoot your entire application infrastructure. We automatically discover the dependencies between various different components within your application, and we help you to, one, monitor your entire application stack. We help you to diagnose it, and as well as we help you to troubleshoot the issue and then fix it so that your application is highly available and it is available for your customers to meet your SLA requirements. So why tracing? Tracing actually helps you with understanding your application service levels, like your response times and errors, identifying faulty components within your application, as well as it helps you to understand the breakdown of your applications. The transaction level troubleshooting helps you to understand the transaction durations. It helps to understand time and causal relationship through visualization, and it also helps you to understand longest span contribution. Service maps and flow diagrams helps you to visualize data the way the users see the stack. It helps you to understand the various different relationships, interdependencies, and it helps you to have an intuitive visualization of your entire complete application stack. With Sumo Logic, we provide all of this functionality for you with application service level monitoring. You can understand where your application stands with respect to the SLAs, the latencies, etc. With transaction level troubleshooting, we help you to quickly identify issues. We help you to identify where the issue is happening, as well as to troubleshoot and then fix the issues. With service maps and flow diagrams, we help you to understand the relationships, the dependencies between various different components within your application. So Sumo Logic, the transaction tracing works with open telemetry. With open telemetry, you have complete flexibility because you own the data. So you do not have any vendor dependencies here. You instrument the application and the telemetry is owned by you. So you can enhance the telemetry according to your own needs. You don't have to depend on any vendor for that. Open telemetry provides you complete visibility. It gives you faster support coverage. It helps you to innovate faster without having to lose your visibility. And finally, from the cost perspective, it helps you to avoid costly vendor lock-ins. And more software frameworks are supporting open telemetry. So you own the telemetry data and you will be able to achieve all the needs of flexibility, visibility, as well as cost using the open telemetry framework. Gartner says that by 2025, 70% of new cloud native application monitoring will be using open source based instrumentation rather than vendor specific agents. So this is from the Gartner Magic Quadrant for APM 2021. Similarly, Gartner also says that prioritize support for standard interfaces in the collection and processing of instrumentation. So these open telemetry for traces, etc., is actually being the front runner when it comes to you ensuring your applications are always available, troubleshoot, and they are more reliable. So with Sumo Logic, we help you to collect the traces. So we support the open telemetry based standards. If you are using Java, script, Node, Python, Ruby, .NET, so we can help you to auto instrument the code. We have detailed documentation, which shows you how to instrument your code. It is pretty easy to set up this instrumentation. And once the instrumentation is done, we collect the traces and then we send it to Sumo Logic for visualization. Similarly, if you have any open standards-based instrumentation which is already available, then we can collect that as well. Once we collect the traces, we use the Sumo Logic receiver to collect all the traces, and then we send it to the Sumo Logic SaaS platform where you can visualize all of this particular data. And if you are using Sumo Logic or the Kubernetes monitoring solutions, then we collect the traces as part of a Kubernetes collection mechanism. We provide a comprehensive Kubernetes monitoring and troubleshooting solution where we collect logs, events, metrics, traces, and security using Fluentd, Prometheus, OpenTelemetry, and Falco-based standards respectively. So we collecting all this particular data, we enrich all this data, and we provide you a navigational capability wherein you can visualize all of your data and achieve complete observability of your platform. We support browser monitoring capabilities. So from the user browser, we can collect the data and you can see the browser side of it as well as the backend part of it using our visualizations and the transaction tracing capability. We provide span analytics. With span analytics, we provide the same power of running queries on your logs. Very similar to that, you can collect your traces and you can use a Sumo log query language, very similar to the way you apply the queries on the logs. Same analytics as for the logs, we provide with span analytics, and we provide full fidelity advanced analytics for any custom use cases. So I will walk you through the Sumo Logic demo where we will see the span analytics capabilities in action. So let us get on to a live demo now. Let me have a quick look at the questions. So there is a Q&A button at the center of the webinar screen. Feel free to go to the Q&A tab and raise all your questions there. All the participants will be provided with a recording of this particular webinar post this particular session. So let's get on to the Sumo Logic interface now. So here you can see the service map. With service map, we show you all the components of your application and the various interdependencies between them. This service map is built automatically using the traces that we collect. So you don't have to manually build these service maps to visualize your application. So here you can see the various different components of our application here. For this demo purposes, we have a coffee machine application. So you can see this is my coffee machine application shown over here. And you can see the coffee machine application having various different transactions and interactions with the other components of this app. Like the coffee machine is talking to the machine service, which in turn is talking to the coffee service, to the water service, etc. You can also see the coffee bar here, and then it's talking to the cash desk, and then the others related services over here. So I can hide the remote services, I can actually hide the orphan services, etc. So here you can see the components which are actually facing an anomaly shown in red over here. So just by hovering my mouse on top of this, I can see the key metrics in the last 15 minutes KPI and anomalies. I can see there is a 16.04% of errors in the coffee service. Similarly, in the coffee machine app, I can see the anomalies over here. So I can get into more details about the coffee machine, which is going to be the focus of this demo today. So here I can see the Entity Explorer here. So I can see the coffee machine service over here. It shows me the overview about my latency, the requests, errors, etc. I can actually go ahead and then open it in my entity dashboard, or I can go to the related logs. I can go to the traces, spans. I can get to my metrics as well as my root cause explorer right away from here. So I'm going to open up my entity dashboard. So this opens up the explorer based view for the coffee machine service. And here I can see all the key metrics of my application shown here. I have the latency, which is being tracked here, the number of requests, and then the errors, which are the three important parameters anyone would be looking for when they are looking at the reliability and the availability of the application. So my dashboard also shows the service dependencies for the coffee machine. So the services on which it interacts and the traces going through the coffee machine is shown over here. And you can also see the latency. I observe some spikes with respect to the the application over here, and I can see the latency, service latency by the application shown over here, as well as the number of requests per second is shown here. And I can see the errors per second, and the errors per second by the application is shown over here. I want to look at much more details. So I can go to the coffee bar app here. And from here, I can again easily pivot to all my logs. I can go to my error logs. I can go to my error signatures, or I can go to any of my related application dashboards over here. This helps you in quickly navigating to related services for troubleshooting purposes. So I can go to the related explorer. I can go to the coffee bar app, which is my application, and I can look at my other related entities as well from here. I can see the entity, the coffee machine, and then I can open up the coffee bar app as well. And then from here, I can actually get onto my applications. I can get to traces, spans, etc. So for this particular demo, I would like to go and then take a closer look at my traces, because from this particular dashboard, I am not able to identify what is actually causing my applications to have more errors, spikes, etc. So I can open up my traces from here. So this is opening up my traces window, and then here I can see the traces already kept open and readily available for analysis. So here you can see the traces matching my query here, and I'm looking at last 60 minutes of my traces. I can see my various different traces with the trace ID, the root service, the root operation, when did it start, what is the duration, as well as the number of errors and the status of it. So here I can choose to filter down the traces by application, by service, by trace ID, etc. And you can see the rich set of metadata which is actually available here, because this data has been collected from my Kubernetes demo environment. So here I can choose any one of these particular applications to take a closer look. I'm going to open up one of those traces from here. So I am choosing the first trace which is available from here. And here I can see the various different components, the critical path contribution by the service. So the coffee bar app, which is 54%, the coffee machine is taken 35, and then I can see the rest of the other components as well. So I can see the various different traces out here. And to get more details about any one of these traces, then I can just click it, and that takes me to the entity explorer, where I can look at my span ID, my trace ID. I can see the service from which this particular trace has come in. I can look at what is the operation, which is a get coffee. It shows a parent span, start time, end time. The status is 200 OK. And I can also open up my related logs, etc. for my troubleshooting from here. Here I'm looking at my metadata. You can see the rich data of metadata, which helps in understanding the context, a lot of information here from my application, the HTTP host, the method which is actually being used here. I can see the port which is actually used, etc. And from my Kubernetes perspective, again, I can see a rich set of metadata being here, which helps me in understanding my application as well as from the troubleshooting perspective. I can go to my entities from here, and from here, I can actually get onto my spans if required. I can go to the related metrics to do troubleshooting, as well as I can get to my logs as well. So having seen that, let us look at one troubleshooting scenario. So I am actually looking at the traces from here, and I see that the traces are actually taking a lot of time. I can see 6.48 seconds. I'm going to open one of these traces over here, and here I can see the different traces. I also see that there are some red lines here on a couple of traces, which means there is an error over here. And from here, I can get on to the transaction. I can see the get copy, which is HTTP post, which is being done over here. I can just zoom in to take a closer look at it. So the request is going to post prepare coffee and then post HTTP post again, and then it seems to be facing an error at post get beans. So I can click this. This helps me to get a summary about this particular trace over here. And I can see again, go to metadata to get all the details. I can look at the different entities, etc. for my troubleshooting. But I can straight away go or pivot to my logs from here to see why this particular trace is actually showing error. So I'm going to open the logs back to this particular trace ID. So here I can see the Sumo Logic search query powering up automatically for the particular trace ID. And you can see the time is automatically filled in. And then I can see the related logs for this particular trace. So it looks like the order is received for coffee grains. And then the error is that there is a lack of coffee grains in amount 0. So this particular transaction is actually facing issues because of that. So like this, I can pivot from my traces to metrics to logs to find out why my application is actually facing issues. And I can quickly looking at resolving that particular issue and then keep my applications highly available. So having seen that, let us look at the spans capability. So I'm looking at the span capability over here. I'm going to go to our demo application, which is the coffee machine service. And from here, I can actually look at, say, for example, the durations. I can look at my average duration, and then duration. I can look at, I can group them by, say, for example, time. Uh, every 1 minute. So I can run my query over here. This runs very similar to the way like how you run queries on your logs. So you can see the related messages over here. And then on the aggregates, I can clearly see my average duration. So I can go ahead and I can add it to my dashboards. I can create my own custom dashboards, etc. So this gives you a capability to query your traces very similar to the way you query the logs. So using this, you can understand the behavior of the application, and you can monitor any custom metric that you wanted to observe inside your traces. So let's get back to why Sumo Logic transaction tracing is better. We provide the transaction tracing capability as part of our overall observability platform. So using Sumo Logic, you can get complete observability for your entire infrastructure stack, irrespective of whether your application is hosted on-prem, whether it's hybrid, cloud, multi-cloud, or microservices based. So the transaction tracing is provided as part of the overall observability and not as a standalone tool. We are open and flexible. We do not get you into a vendor lock-in. So the code that you instrument belongs to you. So in future, if you want to use a different backend for analyzing your traces, then you can very well do that. There is no vendor lock-in. We are scalable and secure by design. We have customers who send petabyte of data. We are a highly scalable machine data analytics platform. You can send as much data that you want to send to Sumo Logic. And we have a highly scalable platform, and we can absorb all this data irrespective of how much data that you want to send. So there is no loss when no loss of data when you send data to Sumo Logic, and we can absorb all the peaks with respect to your data ingestion. We provide you the same great analytics as for the log data, so you can query your traces, and then you can get the great benefits of your log analytics in your tracing as well. And finally, when it comes to pricing, we are pay-as-you-go pricing. So we provide you a zero loss credit-based pricing model. So the same credits can be used across the platform for logs, metrics, as well as security. So using the credit-based model, we provide you a zero loss model because the credits can be used across the entire year. So you get enormous amount of pricing flexibility and power using the Sumo Logic volume-based pay-as-you-go pricing. We are available on the Slack channel. Please join us on a public Slack. Then you can ask us questions, and then you can interact with the Sumo Logic community over here. Please reach out to our sales contact, jmatthews@sumologic.com, and we can look together on a mutually beneficial engagement where we can help you to understand our platform, our capabilities and products. And if you have any questions, we can answer you that. We provide a 30-day free trial. So feel free to go ahead, sign up, try out the platform on your own. The data that you bring in is completely secure, and this data is available for you for the 30 days of free trial duration. Feel free to explore. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach back to us. Thank you for joining the quick demo on Sumo Logic transaction tracing capabilities. I am Suresh Govindachetty. Thank you for joining the webinar today, and I wish you a very good day.